Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Angry Bird podcast show. I'm Kyle. This is my buddy Matt. Together we are navigating this crazy world of having to figure out how to record stuff and make a podcast. You can find me on Instagram at kyle.boehm.photography. You can find Matt at _Matt Parrish. Hopefully you've looked us up if you've heard our stuff. But if you haven't, what are you doing? Get over there. Today, we're going to have a chat as we have this is episode 5, actually, which is pretty kind of neat.
We've made it to 5.
Yeah. 5 seems like a good number.
It's a small victory in life. It's a milestone, but it's a small one.
Yeah. Other than if you're American, and then it would be like 6, because they don't divide anything by 5.
Oh, it's news.
Well, we use the metric system, and they use inches and feet, right?
I see.
So everything's divisible by 5.
You were throwing out.
Yeah, it was a lame attempt at something.
No, that's fine.
So I haven't been shooting at all, really, in the past couple of weeks. But you keep sending me pictures or posting stuff of cool shit, and I'm like, damn it, I gotta go somewhere. You sent me an owl the other day, and I was like, I haven't seen an owl in probably it's been months. Definitely been months.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting to that time of year where you're gonna bump into them. The one I sent you was it's a known roosting location that you go to most years, and if the timing's right, whether it's too early now or you go in a month's time when it's a little colder, you're gonna see them. So that's the only shooting I've done actually myself. Is just a quick little morning trip. I had planned to go to a location the last few weeks. I think I've told you every week. Oh, I'm going here this week, yep. And I just never get around to it.
Lazy bones. What do you mean?
We had really nice weather, and it was really great to actually get, as boring as this is going to sound, to get the lawn all taken care of and get everything put away. And we closed the trailer, we raked some leaves, we cleaned up the deck, we put away the patio furniture, we just did the stuff that nice weather. It feels better. I changed my tires on my car.
Already? Shoot.
Yeah, well, my summers were really bad. They were almost slicks. So I was trying to get through the summer. So I'm like, you know what? I got some time. The weather's nice. I usually do it when my hands are numb. Let's do it this year and do it a little early. So.
The first snow usually happens. I'm like, shit, I gotta do that.
I'm putting on my last snow tire, and I have a buddy there, the guy I work with, and he's just rolling me over the tire. And as he picks up the tire, he goes, "Do you want me to plug this?" And there's a goddamn screw right in the plastic.
Oh no! One of the
it held. Yeah, it held air. I drove to work the next day. Everything was fine. I picked up a plug kit on the way home, but yeah, you put them on. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, that's because you're looking at them. Also, I forgot something.
Oh yes, I did too. And it's not.
What?
My wife drank my last Twisted Tea.
Oh, I think
So it's a Coors Light, another ladies' drink for you.
That's true. You know what though? Ladies' drinks, pretty good. I wasn't a big drinker, really ever, but people would hand me fruity shit, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm down with this.
Yeah, hides the alcohol.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Just
That's exactly what it is.
But I like sweet things. I just like sugar. Yep. It's bad. It's really not good.
Oh, I think most of the Western population likes sugar, is addicted to it in some way.
Yeah,
I think I had Pop-Tarts this morning when I got to work. And then after Pop-Tarts, it was Werther's. Because I have kids. Because I have kids. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. It's not normal, but I think every male in my family is diabetic, so it's going to happen.
Is it a ticking clock? It's I might as well eat this Werther's for breakfast because I'm going to get diabetes anyway.
Yeah, literally, it's just gonna come the onset a little sooner. So
yeah. Well,
anyway,
you live and you learn.
Started that one off with a bang.
Yeah. It's a different way to start.
So we haven't been shooting.
No,
I got all my housework done.
I got a busy weekend. I got a busy weekend this weekend, and I got a pile of leaves on my lawn that I have to do something about. But my sister's coming over and my mom's coming over. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna have time to clean up these leaves. They're just gonna sit there.
Just do them while they're in the house.
Yeah, seems rude, but maybe I should. I don't know.
No, that's the guy thing to do. It's you need a garage to go tinker in.
Yeah. One
Let
day.
the girls just talk inside.
That's
You
true.
can go out and do your
I can
leaves.
go hang out outside with my girly drinks alone.
Yeah, give it 20 years, and that's exactly what you'll be doing.
We'll see. Hopefully not,
Yeah,
but it might
yeah.
happen. But yeah, so you kind of raised a question about this owl photo that I thought we should chop up a little bit today. And you know what's I've picked up the term chopped up as just like talk about. I really
Mhm.
like it. It's just like in my
It
vernacular now.
suits you.
Does
Yeah,
it?
it suits you. Yeah.
Great. So you sent me a picture of this screech, and I'll kind of lead into it this way, where like I've tried recently starting to try to add like some foreground elements, and I kind of like when other people do the lower kind of third is like blurry because there's like a bush or a stick or something kind of right there, and
Mhm.
then the the subject is above it in sharp, and then there's like some background elements. But you
Yep.
had posed a question in this particular photo, like, is the foreground element too distracting?
Right,
And
because it's the photo that we're talking about isn't. We'll have it up on the post for the podcast on the Instagram, but
mhm,
it's not really foreground where it takes up a third. It's in the bottom third,
mhm,
but it's a very small amount of foreground. It's basically a twig that's been kind of in the front. I did no plans of actually removing it. It's just whether it was worth. And not to say it wouldn't. It's just I was just wondering if your eye went to there first,
mhm.
because that's always a big issue. Is if your eye goes to a spot first that's distracting in a negative way, well then that's what we're going to get into. Either worth not posting, trying again, or taking it out in post, which is very easy nowadays. What I liked about the shot itself, though, is the foreground that was in there was at least the same tone as the background. So
Yeah,
it wasn't like it was a beige stick blurred out with a bright blue background.
right.
It actually has the same tones and it draws into the background. And I'm not making that as an excuse at all because I have many, many shots where, there's not actually even any stick in there.
You're showing me your phone through
Yeah, through my other
Discord.
phone.
Yeah,
So
double fisting phones over here.
the other photo, and I'll drop that one there too. It has a blue sky background. It has no foreground. All it has is the tree itself and the owl in the cavity.
Mhm.
So I think one is more artistic and one has more depth to it. It was just whether that one little piece of foreground element was just too distracting and taking away from the photo itself, which is not a phenomenal photo at all. It's just, yeah, it was just a question I guess I brought up.
Yeah, and I think it's fun. Well, for me, like I think sort of talked about it in one of the first. Maybe it was the first one, which got lost in all sorts of interesting stuff. But I don't know what art is. I find it difficult to be like, oh, that extra thing adds prettiness or a feeling or something like that. So when I look at the photo, I'm looking for bird. So bird is the first thing that I'm looking for, and I go screech owl, and I just see it. It's right there. And then later, I'm kind of like, oh, there's a thing, a blurry sort of V-shaped stick in the
Mm-hmm.
foreground, and then I have an annoying picture. I really sort of like the picture. We can maybe post this one too. I just got to dig it up somewhere. It's one of the backgrounds of my computer at work, so I see it all the time. Of a Sora that I ended up getting like nice and close to, but there's a reed that's going right across the bird, like horizontally, but it's like so out of focus that it's almost not there. But then I know that it's there. Like you can see it, but I think it would take a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought about trying to like edit it out or like adjust something so it's not so visible.
Okay.
I've historically kind of been against removing elements because kind of I think I said this too, but kind of my motto for bird photography, if even if that's a thing, is just like I want to show the birds where they are doing what they're doing. So if I remove something, that situation is now not exactly how it was. So to me, it sort of literally takes something away from what I'm trying to do. but like I know that's not. I don't think that's a common thing. Like I think people are more they're more accepting of removing some stuff, but not major elements.
I don't think anything's actually majority. I think it's a bunch of little groups where one group is like you, wants to keep it as natural as possible. And if it's too natural, as in a too busy or something, they actually decide not to even use it. Right, right. There's times where you kind of talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So there's that group. There's the group that just posts the shot as is for out of excitement, the experience, whatever comes along with it,
Do you want to know a cheat way to
and
fix that?
and kind of what do you mean?
Just put a heavy vignette on it. So it's like you
Oh,
just
yeah,
blur the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
everything out. Easy.
Yeah, you absolutely could. You
Yeah.
absolutely could. That's like editing
Level one.
101. Yeah, exactly.
That's first. Just smack
Yeah.
a big old vignette on it.
Yeah. And then there's the ones that will take the photo, take it home, then see the issues with the photo and then take them out and post. Which is acceptable too. I mean, as long as you're not going into a contest with that, which a raw would show that you might manipulate it too much. So we'll get into that too. And then there's the ones that are actually kind of what I want to get to is getting the shot in camera right, which I know sounds elitist and stuff like that, but getting the shot in the camera right. And if you don't get it right, don't be rushing to go post it. Go back and try again and get the shot. With that also comes a lot of time and effort to put in. I don't have that yet. So if I got to remove something a little bit, I will. And the funny thing is, I remove more just playing around in the WhatsApp chat with the guys. I remove more of their elements, or they'll be like, "Oh, I wish that wasn't there," and I'll take it into just Lightroom Mobile on my phone, and I'll quickly move something or edit something out. And we all have a laugh, and I do that with their photos, but I don't really touch my photos that much, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny how I just kind of go, yeah, that is what it is. Because one, I don't have the time. One, I'm not attached to photos, like I've said. But when I have more time, or when I feel like I can give photography more than what I can give right now, I think I'll take it more serious in capturing the photo in the elements, in the frame, the way that I want, and not post something or not share something until I get it that way. I think that's the goal for me in the end.
I think that's one of the reasons, one of the cool things about Instagram, if you care kind of to like improve. Because if I go back and look at some of my first photo and I would say my current photos are still not great. Like, but you go back and look at some of my first photos and I've now sort of positioned the bird in the frame better and kind of gotten lower. So there's not so much busy background and like just kind of learned kind of more positioning, I guess.
Yeah.
Composition, I guess, is the word.
Yeah. Yeah. Composition.
So technically, they're better pictures, and then
Right.
they're a lot of the same subjects. So I like to shoot terns. I like to shoot ospreys. I like to shoot ducks,
Yeah.
like birds of prey and things. So it's like I now kind of I now think more about how I'm approaching the thing and if I should come from this angle or this angle. And honestly, like you kind of started me down that a little bit when we first started talking. So thank you.
No, no problem.
But yeah, like
I'm here if you're willing to listen. I'm not saying it's all going to be good, but
yeah, I definitely
there's
just
small
don't
little
listen to all
snippets.
of your opinions.
Yeah, very few of them actually. Take them
Just
with a
the
grain of
camera
salt, as
related
they would
ones.
say. Yeah,
But
yeah.
like you because you've been messing around with the other guys' pictures and stuff, have gotten pretty good at like removing something.
I would say I have too,
Yeah.
especially just for mobile. Like I can do better on the computer, but even mobile, I can almost take out anything you want. And if you don't look really hard or you don't compare it to the original, you wouldn't really notice as a viewer. If you were to view the photo once and you'd never seen it, you didn't see the raw, you wouldn't notice if the eye on an owl just had moved ever so slightly because where the branch was going through,
Yeah.
and I had to like remove content aware there where it like kind of blends everything in with AI, it might out of round that head just a little bit or move that plumage just a little bit. You're not going to notice that because that could be a unique characteristic of that bird. Like you're looking at it one time.
Yeah. Could be like
You
a
know what I
wind
mean?
or
But
something. Just
exactly. So you can find things if you look close enough. It's kind of like AI, where if you create an AI photo, if you looked at owls' feet, they never get them right.
Oh, uh,
They're always kind of weird. Hands from
yeah.
humans,
Any like
sometimes
digits,
eyes. But like
phalanges.
you could do a boreal owl, and you could get every single little dot on the top of their head and every little feather and every little increment in there, and it will nail that. And then you see the foot wrapped around it. It's this long 9-inch talon
Just
wrapped
three
around the
times.
tree. Yeah, three times exactly. So it's like, I don't know where the loss,
It has
where
like
it
human
loses there.
hands just holding the branch.
I have made a few with owls with human hands.
Ew.
It's quite funny.
Don't fuck.
Yeah,
That's
it's quite
gross.
funny. I've messed around with AI quite a bit, and if you've
Hmm.
followed me beforehand, last year on this time, I went on a big AI kick of posting photos every Friday. It was
Oh, that
Fuck It
was the thing.
Fridays.
Oh, fuck it.
Fuck
Yeah,
It
that makes
Fridays.
sense. Yeah.
And it was AI, and I would post 9 or 10 images, and some of them were funny, and some of them were mocking, and some of them were. It was just fun.
Yeah.
I don't see a negative in it. Do I see a negative in a photo where someone has an account and all the photos are AI and he's just trying to get a big following? Yeah, it's not offensive. It's just like, I don't know. Why would you
Why?
get worked up about that? It ain't winning contests and stuff like that. And they have AI contests now, actually.
Oh, that's interesting.
They actually
See,
have AI categories. So I mean, if you're good at it, you can go ahead. But like, don't be upset if someone's like taking work from you, because they're not taking work from you.
yeah, I
I don't
like
think they are.
I think yeah, I don't know. I think I'm not a type of photographer who is concerned about like I don't know. I don't get paid obviously. Like I just it helps me unwind to like spend time with birds and things, so I'm not really out
Yeah.
there to like win anything. I just was like I want to see a better picture of this thing that I'm capable of taking. So that's kind of my motivation. And I want to show people like you or my family or the general public
Yeah.
like look what I did.
And that's usually the argument, but like that's barely even an argument. That's just obvious.
Yeah, but that's as far as I
Anybody
go.
everybody that's offended is like, no, because like I want to go out there and I want the experience and I don't want to. It's cheating and it's not the same. Yeah, 100%. Everybody knows that.
Mhm.
Like everybody knows that it's not the same thing, but you don't have to be like offended and afraid of it. And I've I've had I've had issues where messing around with some of my buddies and go, "Oh, you're posting AI again." Like I'll comment on one of their photos. "Oh, I see you're back to posting AI."
Oh no.
And like one guy messaged me and was like, "I've lost 6 followers today."
Frick. That's
And I'm like, "Are you
uh,
fucking kidding me?"
yeah.
Because I'm joking about AI. Like, I won't do that ever again. It's kind of
Hmm.
dumb. It's also kind of dumb that like, I mean, I lost 8 followers that day probably, and it probably was just for some random reason. It wasn't because of the AI, but
It's probably from the podcast if we're honest.
100%. It's probably some other dumb shit I've
Yeah.
said. But yeah, I just think it's funny how people get that attached to not to hating something
Well, I can tell you
or
why
being
I get
scared of
upset about
something.
it. And like I'm trying to work on this. And I should have known this, but I kind of came across actually I was listening to a different podcast about like technology and they were talking that like there's Facebook accounts that are just like posting stuff to get reactions. And I
Right.
was like one of those people. So it'd be like this group called like I love owls and it would be
I've
a
seen
clearly
these. Yeah.
yeah, like AI owl on a fence and like there's a dope moon and a barn and like the most
Yeah.
pristine cornfield you've ever seen. And then I go in the comments and it's all like amazing, how like such a good picture, you're so lucky. I'm like this is clearly AI. Like just look at it.
But
Like it's
but so are the comments.
right. So that's what I didn't know, I guess. And then I
Yeah,
was
there's
like,
like
this is literally doing the thing. Like I'm feeding the monster by like looking at it and
yeah,
like maybe making like this is an AI, you dumb piece of
yeah.
junk. Like, and then I shouldn't do that. I'm like so I've just every time one comes up on Facebook, and I guess ultimately I just shouldn't go on Facebook. But I just like don't show me this ever again. Stop
I
showing
was
me
just
this.
gonna say
Don't.
that's exactly what I do. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't show me this again. That's 100% what I do. Yeah, like I would argue that like 70% of the comments are actually AI bot farms.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like this is from Joe Rogan, and I'm just dropping his name
Hmm.
every episode because eventually he might hear it.
Oh, that's a good
And
idea.
no, but on Joe
Like those
Rogan, he
TikTok
said,
accounts, like I'm gonna put on a
yeah,
sock until someone
yeah,
notices me.
100%. And he said that he heard that 19 out of the 20 top Christian sites on Facebook are run by Russian bot farms.
Hmm.
Like it's just wild. The 19 of the top 20 Christian sites
Yeah,
are Russian bot farms.
it's like they're specifically targeting things that they know will get a rise out of people.
For
Like,
sure.
because like obviously religion, if you make any comment, you're gonna have people defending it and people
Yeah.
trying to
And they'll
push you
fuel
down.
it with positive and negative
Yeah.
comments that are just bots that just
Yep.
keep it going.
So
So it's kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, there's always going to be bad that comes along with something. You can't stop it all. But
yeah,
with photography, we should utilize it. And there's a lot of things you can do with AI, and there's a lot of things you are doing with AI. And it's hard to cut the cake in half and say I'm okay with plastering all this extra shit on top of my photos,
hmm,
like DxO, Pure Raw, or
hmm.
whatever, Topaz,
Topaz AI.
on
They say
one.
that right in the
Yeah.
thing.
So you're gonna like basically like put pig lipstick on a pig
Hmm.
and make your photo better. I'm not saying your photo's a pig. I'm just saying it enhances
You're telling
photos.
me my photo's a pig, and I
Yeah, but
appreciate
it's
that.
enhancing it's enhancing photos for the better. It's actually doing it in your camera if you have anything new. It has AI algorithm.
Well, I was gonna say right
But you're
now.
but I would yeah.
I was gonna say right now. Technically, my R8 to look at you is using
Right.
AI to figure out the
Right.
focus on my eye, so that I'm
Right.
still in focus.
It's built exactly like that. And the
But
firmware updates adjust the algorithm and
but they
but
call
the
it
thing is
stuff like machine learning. I'm like,
yes,
it's
100%.
the same thing.
Yes. And I know there's a disconnect because I know that stuff is useful. What people are saying is if you don't start with a photo from a camera with pixels, and I 100% agree.
Hmm.
I 100% agree, but you shouldn't unfollow an account that posts one with transparency
Hmm.
or puts one on their story as a gag. Or, there's a lot of people that are very cut and dry with it where it's like, no, not interested, don't even want to talk about it. It's offensive. It's taking work from me. There are a certain amount of people that I've come across that are like that, and it's more just being afraid of what it is, and
Yeah,
it's
afraid of
pretty
change.
useful stuff because you're using it all the time, like you said, in your cameras and in your bodies and like your lenses and
So
your
here's a
post
thought.
processing.
Here's a thought. I had this thought kind of, I guess last year, whenever AI started kind of becoming more mainstream, and then right, I started hearing photographers like just taking our jobs and things like that. Is it? Do you think? Because like weddings and wedding photography is like a big part of photography, right?
Yeah.
You're not get. I don't think you're gonna be like, all right, AI, take pictures of my wedding. Like, make me pictures of my wedding, because you're not, those moments that are getting captured aren't real
No,
moments. So like
no, you're
that,
right. You still have to take the catalog.
yeah. So like that industry, I don't think will be affected by it that much. So
You're
who
right.
are the photographers are like you're taking pictures? Is this the people who are just like taking stock photos of like a computer mouse on a desk to sell for 15 cents on every website? Like,
Well, for sure. Any kind of digital artist.
but
There was people out there that used to like do digital art on one of those like pads with a pen, and
mhm.
now anybody can do that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So if you're like a cartoonist or something, like I could see
Yeah.
that being a kind of a problem. But I think that like a cartoon or like a book or like something like that, there's not only the picture that's the main thing. So I'm hoping with this podcast, like maybe somebody will like you or like me, and they listen to it because they like you or me, because that the subject and the person and the like it kind of all works together as being a thing that they like.
Hmm.
If you're doing the thing still and you get a following, they're still liking you for that thing. If I now start making an AI comic, I'm still making a thing that somebody likes alongside other people, the same people who are drawing them and doing that stuff too. Like I think there's space for both, but you're right, people are scared.
Well, I think the argument for the people where you're getting your AI art from is the stuff that they've drawn and that it's grabbed from the internet.
Yeah, yeah, that's another component. That's
Like
definitely part of
there's
it.
that too. So really I be mad that well, I guess I shouldn't be mad, but I have heard people mad that
You should
AI
be
has
angry.
used AI has used their photos
Hmm.
to come up with a
This other
photo
thing.
of something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
And I believe there's a software or an app coming out called Overlay,
yeah.
which
So
you can run an image through, which puts blockers on it so that when AI searches, they're basically like a VPN, like it's hidden.
it's a little
But that's
inside
but that's run
baseball.
by yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was gonna say this is inside baseball, but this is what we wanted to talk about in the first episode, and just like never got around to it.
Yeah, it was a little probably too heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it other than it's run by a couple photographers, one specifically who's well known, and he already does expeditions and stuff that kind of are out of reach from the average citizen. They're excursions that are expensive. They're excursions that are only done by people with clearance. They're very, very specific, and they're documenting animals for not just the photos, but for other programs,
Research and like
research, all that,
biology things.
and this individual wouldn't want anybody sitting behind a computer and able to recreate any of the photos that I wouldn't say only he has, but I say only he has because he is the only one that has it. So he already kind of has a monopoly on that because
Hmm.
of who he knows, the money that he gets funded, the ability to go. He's the one that's actually running it, I guess, with a bunch of other people. But it almost seems like you're going to have a certain amount of tokens. And then once you're out of those tokens, that's where a subscription comes in, where you can buy extra ones. And you know how crazy people can get posting 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day.
Hmm.
So there is a portion of it that where it's like if you're going to post that many photos and you're going to run them through Overlay, you're eventually going to be spending cash on it because you're going to run out of your free ones, and then that's a bit of like passive income.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like so, like
Hmm.
you already kind of have a monopoly on these specific species that you photograph way up north, and you don't want anybody else to recreate them. So in turn, you're creating this thing to prevent other people from getting their work stolen, but also monopolizing yours still.
I
You know
would
what I
say
mean? Like
that's
there's
just capitalism in motion.
it's just capitalism. It's just capitalism. 100% it is.
Hmm.
It's just he's the first one. They're the first
Hmm.
one to think of it.
Yep. So
I don't
let's
know if it's the right intentions are in mind. They are for certainly for that individual, but I don't know about for everybody.
yeah. So like most most products I think are like that where they identify a gap and they try to make the
Yes.
product sound like it's helping you, but
Right.
really it's just like kind of a little bit of a ploy to get you to give them money, which is I guess
Right.
fine. Like for some reason people have decided that that's how the world's going to turn around. I don't
Well,
like most of that, but
who's going to give them money? The people that are risking losing money.
yeah, it seems
The
like
average
you're
the
kicking
average
someone when they're
photographer
down.
the average photographer isn't going to care that their photo of a white-tailed deer in some hawthorn
Hmm.
that is busy as hell. Like they're not going to be protecting that image. But there's a guy that spent his own money and has his own following and makes money off his photos. He's probably going to be the one that's going to be running them through Overlay. So it's like business,
Hmm.
kind of business minded individuals that are probably going to want to protect their photos. I certainly hope more than the layman because like the average layman photo doesn't need to be protected. Send it to AI. That's your fucking contribution.
Yeah, check out this chickadee that's really small in the frame and there's just leaves everywhere.
And I'm not degrading anybody because I'm
No.
in this category.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just there's only so many people that can be seen. There's only so many people that can do it for a living. There's only so many people that can make money off it. That's in everything.
Hmm.
There's a cap on things, and everyone else just falls in line until you get your opportunity or you don't. We're all in it. But I just don't see that many people of our ilk that are going to be using it as often as somebody that has something to protect.
I know.
Somebody that goes in and gets photos of a Kodiak and he has a very specific photo and maybe he doesn't want that to be able to recreate it because it does go back into the algorithm.
Hmm. I
You
know
know?
that like I think the Northrops have been pushing like back against that kind of stuff. Like they talked on there, they have a little podcast too, and they talk about how AI is kind of breaking some stuff, and then but they generally also all show like a positive almost, like they kind of do a little bit of fence sitting, which
Hmm.
is okay. But I know they've been talking about it a lot because,
Hmm.
like you said, like a lot of photographers are talking about it. They haven't specifically talked about overlay. I kind of if it kind of becomes bigger than I expected to, I would be interested to hear of what other people are thinking about it because I kind of like when you've laid it out, I kind of like think of it similarly. Like I'm not gonna pay for that. I'm not benefiting financially from posting anything, so it's not really
Right.
any skin off my back if AI is learning what using my photos. But like I kind of see why someone would be mad, but then we come back around to people are just scared of change and scared of like
Hmm.
new things. It's like the same reason people are still shooting DSLRs because they're just scared of like the new
Right.
technology and mirrorless cameras,
Right.
even though it probably does benefit their life in some way. They're just like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, once they adopt it, they fully adopt it.
Yeah.
Nobody goes back to DSLR. Nobody has gone back to DSLR. And I'm not saying DSLR is worse and I'm not saying mirrorless is better.
Hmm.
There's just aspects that make it more enjoyable.
I want to put a challenge out to the 68 listeners of this podcast. If any of you have gone back to a DSLR, I would like you to email us at angrybirdpodshow@gmail.com and tell us why, because I'm legitimately interested. Because I, so we've talked before about how like I like to switch gear and stuff. I've never shot Nikon, and the reason I didn't is because I jumped into the Sony mirrorless pretty quick, and I'm not at the time like they didn't have a camera that kind of excited me or that I could afford. So I was like, if I'm gonna try Nikon, I'd have to go backwards back into DSLR, and I'm just not gonna do that. So
Right. And like D850s were still probably
oh, they're everywhere.
2800 then.
Yeah,
They were still near $3,000 at the time.
yeah. I
Yeah.
I I want to be nice here because I like her. A friend of mine has been kind of dreaming about a Nikon D6 for like a long time. And she's got a whole bunch of DSLRs, all Nikons. And she finally was able to get this D6, which cost more than the Z9. And I was like, she was super excited, and like as a friend, I was excited for her. I don't know if she's gonna listen to this, and if she does, she knows that I'm a big fan of hers. But like, I wouldn't have personally made that decision because to me that this doesn't show like for me. I'm like since I'm in tech kind of I like want to move forward. That was like,
Hmm.
but I at the same time I have to be happy for her that she got like kind of a dream camera for her.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like more than likely you're going to get just as good a shots.
Oh yeah,
Like let's be real, like
for sure.
it's more the experience, it's more the
Well, okay, let's think of it like this. So you know how that Fuji X, what is it, the XT
oh, X
five?
XH2S.
No, the
No?
like retro looking one with all the knobs and like kind of a point and shoot,
Oh, XT100 or something?
like Mark Five or I don't that I
Yeah,
don't,
I think they're on 5 or 4. I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
It does have interchangeable lenses though, small ones, right?
I'm so not in
I
Fuji.
Okay,
You
I
used
think
to
we
be,
know
but
what I did,
But
but I didn't like that little hipster camera anyway. It really wasn't my type of thing,
yeah,
so I didn't pay attention to it. But I know like it's very popular.
right, because it is somebody's thing, and the reason they
Yeah.
like it is because it feels more old school. So you're getting these people like there was a boom for just like shitty 2000s point and shoots for like 5 minutes, and it's
It
because
still
like
is right now.
there's a look or there's like
Yeah.
an aspect to it that's interesting. But people will want these retro like the Nikon ZF and the I think Sony or Canon has, I don't know. But they look and they feel retro, and you have to turn a knob to change the ISO, and like
Yep.
there's this kind of old school feel. And I think that's
Yep.
something people are after, just for like an experience point of view,
Yep.
because they're doing different photography. Like I don't think you'd see someone with like a dial adjusted ISO anymore with a 600 f4 standing on the side of a marsh. Like you would, I feel like you'd
No,
see it for like vacations or
but
like street photography type of thing.
well, I did shoot an the XT series with the knobs and dials for 7 years, and
Anymore is what I
I
said.
would say two and two, yeah, and two of them were wildlife. So it is definitely possible, and the only reason it's possible because you're looking at it as it being paired with something that would focus as fast as the 100-400 or any new modern Z RF whatever mount lens. And that's not the case. It's literally like point, lock, focus, recompose. So to adjust a dial and watch your live view, it's just part of the experience.
Hmm.
It's a slower experience to begin with. I don't want that shit now that I have tracking. I don't want
No,
that. Well, now
that's
that I
the me
have
too.
the ability to burst 40 frames and get action, and like maybe not with the lenses I shoot, but you know what I mean? It doesn't match the experience anymore. Whereas it did actually go with the how slow the experience was. It was definitely a lot slower experience shooting Fuji, and not in a bad way. It was more of in a therapeutic way. Whereas I have to think about less things now shooting the modern day, Canon R series cameras. I have less things to focus on, which I'm not sure has translated into better photos or not.
I
It's
don't.
really hard to
Yeah.
say,
So
but the experience is more fun.
what I want to say, because I don't. I guess I do. I want to offend people? I don't think so. But like,
I usually do that.
yeah, but like, I'm not saying if you are shooting a DSLR or you are enjoying these type of more tactile cameras that you are incapable of anything. Like those are fully capable, awesome cameras, and goodness knows, like she's gonna shoot the heck out of that D6. But like for me, like I've said, I'm kind of new to cameras, and I'm into tech, so I'm like, what can it do for me that will make my experience for me better? And for me, the experience isn't like dinking around with dials and stuff. For me, the experience is like I'm seeing a bird and I want to capture what it's doing. What features in this camera can help me do that better? Like I want quick focus, I want tracking, and I want it to focus on the eye because that's what I was told and read in a book, that the thing that should be in focus for that kind of
Right.
stuff. And with, like you said, with your old Fuji's, it was more like deliberate. You might get one or two shots of a subject before it
Yep.
spooks or before it just
Yep. Or
meanders
zero.
off.
Many
Or
times zero.
zero.
The,
Yeah.
the, the shots that I should have had when I had that camera was greatly outweigh the shots I ended up with. Because you just lose so many. You'd miss so many.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I missed probably just as many with the new camera.
Yeah. But
You
I
miss
think
anything you're not prepared for.
you're missing shots because it's taking so many. So it's different. Because you get the shots in between as well.
That's possible. That's possible. What if I'm gonna ask you a question,
Uh-oh.
and this I don't know. This might not even be a good question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Perfect.
What if DSLR shooters thought about mirrorless cameras like some people think about editing photos, like it's cheating?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. What okay.
Because it's the same level. It's the same level of technology. It's the same level of availability. It's the same level of just enhancement. in the hobby.
Yeah. So
I know this is an individual answer always. We're
yeah,
not going to make one that fits everybody, but
no. So if you're asking me, which I guess you are, because we're the only two talking,
yes.
I think there are probably some people that think that, but I don't think that. But at the same time, there's a level of editing that I get to a point with where I'm mad at their image. The one that will get me every single time is frickin' sky replacements. Leave the sky
yeah.
alone.
Well, that's the problem, though. If you're going to edit something, you better damn make sure that it's something that nobody can point out. That's
Yeah.
the fucking point.
Yes.
You don't
You're
make
trying to
it
improve
on
it.
the opposite angle. Like most sky replacements that people use, they don't transform any of it. They don't cut a clip out of it. They just whatever drops in there. The clouds aren't to scale. They're not blown out. They're sharp.
Yeah. The clouds are sharper than the subject itself. That's the
You're
first
like,
thing I
where's
notice.
you shot a 600? Where's the compression?
No, it's on like a 75 to 300. Like it's never on like a good camera because the
Yeah.
person who has the good camera can edit.
At 75 at f22.
Yeah. Well, no, if it was F22, it would make sense that the clouds are sharp. It'll be like F6.3 and the clouds are a billion miles away. And you're like,
when you
no.
put the settings too, you're setting yourself up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%.
If you're going to edit a photo and you're going to
Secret
manipulate
settings.
it, if you're going to manipulate it, just make sure that you manipulate it to the certain thing, like to a certain way that nobody's going to notice it. That's the fucking point. Like Rain actually, I think it was Rain. He dropped in the chat this today. Someone giving a tutorial about if you don't have catch light. Catch light is basically a light in the eye of your subject that is good to have. It usually kind of shows you have the light in on the right angle,
Yep.
the proper angle to get that micro contrasting and stuff to get the real nice
Do I have it
sharpness.
now?
You have a little bit.
There's a light shining at my
There's
face.
there's a glint there.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the thing was he was showing you how to put one in when there isn't one there. To give your photo more depth. So I cannot wait for the influx of catch light that's on the opposite eye or on the wrong angle of the light source because you're
Yeah.
going to see this stuff. Because
Yeah.
people don't realize that like when you're critiquing and editing your own photo and you get too excited, you miss things. You're going to. That's life. That's trial and error. You
When
have
you-
to fuck up to realize and don't do that.
Yeah. When you said the catch light in both eyes in like the wrong direction and stuff, it's not, I don't know why, because ADHD I guess, but it reminded me of this sky replacement that I saw, and I think I saved it, where it was a house sparrow on like just the corner of a roof, and I guess the sky was just white because obviously it would be. So they replaced it with like clouds. It made this sparrow look like it was like 500 feet tall. Like it just because the scale
changed. Yeah.
It was so bananas. And I was like, and of course, because I'm a dick, I commented, I was like, post the original. Like clearly sky replaced. And they're like, how do you know? I'm like, because the sparrow isn't that big. A sparrow's like this big.
People forget you don't have to convince yourself. You have to convince everybody else.
Yeah. It's like this Godzilla sparrow. Like, post that. That was so cool. If you saw a 500-foot tall sparrow.
So, do you think some people take? Do you think some people take that stance or have that ideology? One, because they may not be able to edit to that quality themselves.
So
There's going to be a certain few.
I suck at editing, I think. I am preset guy. I just
realized that when you said you suck, I just went, mm-hmm. And it's just a natural reaction. It wasn't on purpose.
For sure.
I listen to these
I
back.
appreciate that.
I listen to these back for Instagram clips, and then you're like, so anyway, my photos aren't good, and I'm like, mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I hear these things, I'm like, what a fucking asshole.
That's fine. I know you're a
No,
dick.
it was
It's
just
cool.
a reaction. It was just a reaction. It wasn't a reaction to saying that. It was just a, mm-hmm, yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
fine.
sorry, go on.
Yeah. So like everything about photography is new to me. And I started, again, this is from the first podcast, so I won't have to go too far into it. But I started taking pictures of like knives and things and pocket knives and pens and flashlights and that kind of stuff. Just like I'd put them on the ground on like the little edge of something and take a picture. And then people were having like really crushing blacks in the background and like they looked sharper than like real life. And I was like, how are you doing this? And then a guy told me about Google Snapseed, which is a free editing
That's what
app.
I used.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then same guy he used Lightroom, and I was like, oh, like I've heard of Adobe. I know that's a thing. So I had the free version of Adobe Lightroom for a while, and then he kind of told me about presets, and I was like, that's what I need. I need a cheater button. Just like, nope, that one. And I've kind of gotten into a bad habit of just like doing that. So I'll take a bunch of pictures, and on the way home in the car, I'll put them on my phone, and then kind of scroll through, see one, transfer it into Lightroom, blah, 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 apply a preset or two, maybe make a couple adjustments and be like, dope picture, send it. And I kind of like, I'm like, it does look better. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you kind of suck though. Like you didn't really do anything. You didn't make the preset. You didn't like edit. You didn't change any of the sliders.
But did you make the photo better with that preset than you could editing?
I think so, but also I'm at the point now where I kind of want to know more about the intricacies of editing. So I know what each slider does. So my move, I don't know if this is everybody. Oh, like have a picture.
Cool.
Oh yeah, 100 0. What is that changing?
Land in the middle, yeah.
Yeah,
That's how you learn
like,
anyway. That's how I
know,
learned.
17.
Yeah.
And then I move it to 18. I'm like, is that better? I don't know. Like, and I just like leave it at a number that I'm fine with. Like, you ever do that on your radio in the car? Like, it can't be like 23. You're going to round it to 25 or like back to 20. No? Is that just me? Is that just autistic or
it's
ADHD?
not just you.
No.
Between you and me, it's just you.
Oh, okay, fair. There's definitely
There's a
people
few
that are
more
like,
out there.
I can't have this volume on 17.
They're doing this right now at the radio. They're just like, yes, this right here.
Yeah.
They're pumped that you just said that.
Oh, good. I'm glad I can make people happy. But yeah, so I do the same thing with the sliders in Lightroom. I'm like, no, that has to be a round number, or like we said, I don't know if it was recorded, but we said earlier it has to be divisible by 5.
Yeah.
It can't be like some bullshit number unless it's a number that I like for another reason. Like I like the number 27. So if it was 27, I'd be fine with that. But like 26, it would be 25. I would never have something at 26. So like I'm trying to go through Lightroom, but only on my phone because I'm always with my phone. And because I sit at a computer every day, I don't want to go home after shooting and stare at this computer because I've sat Friday, Monday.
He does make an exception for me.
Yes. For this right now, it's worth it. Totally worth it.
But yeah, no, I do get that. The thing is, editing's not everybody's thing. And that was going to be my second thing. Is it because people don't have the skill or haven't acquired it? The second one is they don't care. A lot of people are less interested to even edit at all. But by doing that, there still is this level of like a small little elitists where it's like, I don't like editing. I don't think anybody should edit a photo. I don't edit. Well, that's just because you're not interested, for one.
I have a small rebuttal. But you can tell me if it fits or not. Okay. People won't edit, but people will crop the shit out of pictures, which is an edit. So they'll be like, it is 900 miles away from a duck in a river, and they'll zoom it in so it's up. I'm using air quotes here, everybody. Portrait, and it's just like, no, there's now 2 pixels left. It's grainy as balls, and you can't tell the thing has feathers. It looks like a wooden duck that's floating down the river, and they're like, look, and then you'll get other boomers that are like, oh, great picture. I'm like, no, it's not.
Which slapping a fucking preset on that probably would have helped it.
No, if they did that, they would just boost the grain. The grain would be the size of like freaking moons in the thing. Like it would be insane. And I love commenting on people's pictures. The sharpness slider isn't a switch. It doesn't have to be 0 or 100. Like people, they're like, the sharpness is just cranked, and like every line is like 75 dots, and it just looks so fake. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
I
birds are fluffy, guys. Like, they're not made of razor
I
blades.
hope there are people out there that are taking it not as serious as we are. Like this is no, this is certainly stuff to like laugh at, and I make comments like this all the time. And I think sometimes they get taken the wrong way because there's a lot of serious people out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the person that crops in 600%
Mm-hmm.
is a person that it's not because they don't want to edit. They're group one. They don't know how to edit.
Yeah, and I'll admit
They're
to
not
being
even in
that
group
person
two.
when I started, for sure.
Well, I think most people don't know how to edit. I shoot JPEG quite a bit. I don't know how to color edit.
Oh, yeah.
Like color, what do they call that? Like when
Grading? Color grading?
Yes, yes. I'm not very good at that.
Or
I
there's
use
like
JPEG.
split toning and shit. Like, what?
Yeah, yeah. Like I find when I use a RAW, which I do, but when I use a RAW, I try to match the JPEG or what I'm looking at in the viewfinder.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what kind of made me fall in love with it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Like selecting that
photography?
photo. Ooh. Well, I'm
Oh,
just saying
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
general,
okay.
when I take the photo and I come back and I'm looking at it through the LCD or the EVF, and I'm like, ooh, save that one, lock that one, just because I do a bit of culling in my camera,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll actually like flag ones so then they come up when I go to my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So what I try to do is I try to edit it back to the JPEG when I use a RAW. So a lot of the times I'll just use the JPEG, certainly for social media use. It is so much easier.
Yeah.
But then when I get to that RAW, sometimes I have issues with the color grading.
I
Someone
don't.
that's pretty good at it is Kareem. He usually came up with some pretty cool stuff with his color grading. Like he works a RAW pretty good.
Yeah, there are definitely people that are a lot better at it than
Sometimes
me.
mine will be too warm. Sometimes they'll be too cold. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like I'm not really consistent with it. So I'm certainly not a good color grading, but I can remove something like you wouldn't believe.
So you're halfway there. So, question
I'm
for you:
halfway there.
do you know about the little dropper tool in the like color area? It looks like a little like eyedropper.
Yeah, where you can select a specific color.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what it's I learned not recently, but kind of in the last year maybe. What you do is you put it on like a piece of the picture that you know is like a neutral color. So like a
Right.
rock or if it's like a gray bird, you can kind of put it there,
I think I've seen this. Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
it'll change the whole like the image color, like the color cast and everything, and kind of bring it back
Right.
into more neutral. So I like to
Interesting.
start there and then edit the individual colors a little bit after. That's kind of what I'm started doing.
We're gonna sound like hacks, but can you do this in
We are
Lightroom
hacks.
Mobile?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you can do it in mobile.
Yeah.
No one's taking us serious right now. We've said JPEG and Lightroom Mobile in this last minute.
I think in the description of this podcast it says like for expert opinions or something. Like this
I
is
thought it
not.
was I thought it was Carl can kick rocks.
Oh no, that's the time. We got to add that somehow. Carl can kick rocks. Carl friggin' finds a dope short. Well, the owl was injured, but he found a short-eared owl on his property. Had a pet shorty for like a day, and then finds a
Yeah.
saw-whet like later on his yard. I'm like, I had a hermit thrush in my front yard last week. Like,
Yeah. And he
great.
came from like Scarborough, where he was living, where he had like the best ravines ever. He's lucked out, that boy. Unfortunately, that owl went to rehab and it didn't make it.
Oh, it
Had
didn't.
some internal. No, it had
Oh
some internal
no.
injuries.
Oh,
Yeah,
now I feel like an ass.
the next day.
Oh, that
Carl
so
can still
sucks.
kick rocks.
Well, yeah, he can definitely kick
I'm
rocks.
kidding.
He can kick towers. He can kick CN towers.
Yeah, Carl can kick CN towers.
Oh, I'm sad about the owl now. Don't tell me things like that. I want to think positive.
I honestly thought you knew.
No, I didn't. You added me to another WhatsApp group and I immediately muted it. So I was like, oh, cool. Maybe check
We
in
all
every
have
once
it
in a while.
muted.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah.
Let's get back to editing hacks because we're
Yeah.
bad at it. Like, another thing. So that dropper thing actually helped me a lot. And another thing that's not really editing, but it kind of also is a little bit. And I don't have an opinion on either way because I keep flipping back and forth, but I'll say it anyway. In the Canon cameras, I think in Sony you can too, because I remember trying this there. You can pick whether or not you want the whites of the auto exposure or the auto color, what's the word I'm looking for? White balance. The auto white balance to be like warm or as close to white as it can. And I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth if I want the camera to try to make it whiter, because then you're starting with a more like neutral picture to edit, or if I like the warmth, because I kind of do like a warm picture. So what I might do is just set one of my cameras to one and one to the other. So it's just like, oh, I get both. I don't know.
I usually, if I don't like it, I'll just mask the bird, and I'll just adjust the color cast of the whites.
You just no, you just
usually
hit
what
on
I'll do.
another freaking thing I hate. When it's like the bird looks like a pop-up book out of the back of the picture.
Oh,
It's just like the
yeah.
brightest thing and then the darkest like this is
Am
I
I
think the
am I
term is
guilty?
deep fried.
Am I guilty of that?
None I would tell you, but none of the pictures I can think of that you've taken are that like I haven't been mad at them for that.
Yeah.
I've
It's
definitely
everything else.
yeah, everything else pisses me off, but just not that. I definitely do this, so I'll use the like subject detection or whatever thing in Lightroom, and it'll kind of usually do a pretty good job of picking out the bird. And if they're a little dark, I will brighten them a little bit, but I won't go like I said, it's a slider, it's not a switch, so you don't have to go all the way to 100. You can go to like 5, and it'll just be like, oh, it's
It
just
does.
kind of
It does make a difference.
no, it for sure does. And I saw a trick on a YouTube video somewhere to like kind of trick people if you have a slow lens, how to make your lens look faster. You cut the subject out and bump the sharpness of the subject up, and then do the same mask but in reverse. So you're highlighted on the whole background, not the subject, and you take the sharpness and turn it way down, and you turn the noise reduction way up. So it's like this butter smooth background with this like
Yeah.
bumpy ass freaking sandpiper.
I
in the
do
middle.
like I do like to do that at times. I also like to adjust. I don't do the noise reduction. I'll do a little bit of sharpness, and I'll do which is basically what Lightroom lens blur does. It's same thing. It actually reduces texture or and
Yep.
clarity.
Yeah, you can turn those ones down too.
So and then I'll adjust my dehaze too, because sometimes you get too much like you don't want too much contrast in there and lose your subject. So let's just bring up the haze a little bit so the just pops out. So that's why I asked you if I've been guilty of this, because I certainly do that in certain situations where I need a little bit less in the background. F11, right? Compression's a beautiful thing at 800, but I mean F11 you still need a little bit of help. And that's what keeps me shooting the lenses that I have.
because you
Is
can
the
kind of
ability
edit the way you like.
is the ability to just make small adjustments to get closer. You're never gonna match that rendering of a 608 f4 or an 800 or a 400 You're never gonna match that rendering. You just don't have the right glass. You know what I mean? Just it's not possible.
By the
But
way, Canon, send me a 400 2.8, please. That's the only reason
we
have this
can.
podcast.
Yeah, if Canon Canada wants to send us one, we can compare and we can show you exactly what we mean.
Immediately after they send it, I'm moving, so they can't find me.
So no
I'm never
fixed
giving it back.
address.
Nope.
So that's why I do utilize it at times, because Mike gets brought up every podcast. He actually told me that he's gonna have to start
He's the unofficial
charging me.
third member.
No, I think he said you're gonna have to fucking have me on the podcast the amount you bring me up.
We might. We will do it.
So
We'll do
that
it, for sure.
so he listens obviously.
Listen, Mike, you're gonna be on.
But we talked about why shooting these lenses is still possible these days, and it's because the bodies work. They work well still on these bodies. They focus well, even though I know you have a little bit of an issue with that. We'll get into that, but they focus relatively well. They stick on their subject, so you can perform and use them in the field, and then you have all this post stuff that you can do when you get home to enhance them a little bit more and make them a little more than what they are.
I'm not
And
gonna,
that's why I say you should edit.
if I
Because you
heard
might as well
something-
just have a P950 or the P1000.
Yep.
Like if that's all you want to do,
I heard a thing.
and that's okay too.
No, yeah, those are interesting cameras for sure. I heard a thing it was when I was doing more like night photos and stuff, but they're like, if you're posting it, it should be edited. Like it shouldn't be the raw or the JPEG that's straight out of camera. You can post that to kind of, what I like is when someone does the like, here's what I started with and here's how I finished. Because then you can see differences, and sometimes the best ones are like sometimes how subtle they're making certain changes.
Yeah. I've seen it backfire too. I've
Oh,
seen
for
a
sure.
few where it's just like the raw is so much better. Like what are you doing?
Well, this isn't a rewind, but you did say something. You said make small adjustments. And that's I think the key. You're tweaking. You're not making a new
You're
picture.
you're emphasizing the things that that you already have in the frame. You're not
It
creating things.
and that's
You've
one of
already
the,
captured it in camera. Like
right. That
you're
was gonna
just
say
helping it.
what like what I had to learn was like you do most of it on at the time of the picture taking, and then you
You're an
just.
elitist.
I'm trying to be better.
I'm kidding. You do everything in camera?
Yeah, you literally said you
elitist.
did that
You
at the beginning of this
elitist.
show.
I know.
But like that, like if you want, so there, if you want to improve your photography, that should be sort of the mindset you're going in with. But if you're just taking pictures of birds because you like looking at birds and you like showing people the birds that you look at, sure. You don't have to think. You're like, look, I saw a blue jay, and it could be the most mediocre picture of a blue jay, but it makes someone happy. So who cares?
But then stay out of the conversation then.
Yeah. So that's kind of like
I don't need to hear you say that no one needs to edit.
that's kind of like if you don't vote and you complain about like the prime minister
Yeah.
or whatever. Like vote, and then you
Like,
can complain. That's your ticket to complain.
I understand you have an opinion, but get a fucking podcast.
Yeah. Obviously, that's the best way. Freaking podcast is the only way to actually like.
Who's telling me what I can and can't say other than potentially you because you
Nope.
might leave.
I don't. That's maybe. I've lasted this long.
But-
I don't know.
Yeah, no, we try to make light of all of these things, but like, yeah, just don't sway the conversation into a should you or shouldn't you if you plan not to because you have a different idea of what you're going to do with your work.
I'm
If
aware
you're
of
just
the.
doing ID stuff, then yeah.
I was gonna say I'm aware of the irony that earlier I was like I post troll comments on Facebook, and I'm like definitely a part of the problem, but I think it's because like I'm trying to make light of what other people are like saying is kind of serious. I'm like
Yeah, me
it's,
too.
And it's probably the wrong way of doing it, but I think it's funny. Like someone else must think it's funny, and like I think if you're being funny, usually somebody's gonna get kind of upset at the thing. I try to make everything like PC and not as friendly as I can, but laughing at something, if it's a picture, like you're not. I guess you can hurt the feelings of the person who took the picture, but like if you're like this picture sucks, it's your opinion. Like I can look at the Mona Lisa and say that painting sucks. It's not the general opinion of most of the world, right? But I don't care to look at it. Like I don't know. I don't get art. Who cares? I like birds.
Yeah, I struggle with art too.
This art guy is the worst.
I just like photography. I mean, I like birds obviously, but I just like photography in general. I like doing it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an art viewer because I don't really understand art. Someone could tell me something's artistic, even with a bird photography. Let's take a wide angle bird photo, which actually I said this to you just a couple days ago. It appears that the longer you do photography, the smaller the subject gets in your frame.
Yeah, I
Wildlife
literally just
photography.
looked at the time we've been recording to be like, because I knew that segue made sense to me, and I was like, do we have time to talk about it? But yeah, it's
What are we at? What are we at?
an hour 7, but that includes all the
Oh,
ugly
okay.
shit that I'm gonna cut.
Yeah, okay, we're good. We got 20 then.
So you said that to me the other day, and I think I sent you with like 75 M's because I was like, that's actually an interesting question. And for me, it's absolutely true. So I like showing where the bird is. And in order to do that, you have to not necessarily fill the whole frame with bird. Like you have to show bush or water or something to show where the bird is. It can't just be full send 3x2 fucking grebe without any water or CN tower.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, I've started to make the bird smaller, and the rule or the idea that I'm kind of I have the rule of thirds grid in my viewfinder,
Yep.
and I
Same.
want the bird to touch both lines, but that's about it.
Like, well, like intersecting on a longitude and a latitude, I suppose, or whatever you want to say,
Well,
like
like,
a horizontal and vertical. Like,
well, no,
because
no.
there's like,
There's the rule of thirds where it's like putting it in the corners, which is also why that's there. But
yeah,
in
they're like
terms
points
of
of interest, right?
yeah,
Yeah, like
but in
the
terms
kind of
of
key
bird
point.
height, I'm just kind of
Oh,
thinking
okay.
like head touch the top line and like feet ish touch the bottom, because then usually the tail kind of trails off.
Oh, I see. Like
Because
medium in frame. Okay.
yeah, because then you get
Yeah.
enough bird sort of habitat on either
Mm-hmm.
side. If you especially then if you take the bird and put it on the one of the two vertical lines,
Right.
you have a nice amount of space
Right.
around the bird to be able to show where
Right.
it is.
Right.
But before,
Whereas,
I would like vertically crop it and then zoom in and be like, look, a close picture of a
yeah,
cardinal.
and that's something that the mirrorless cameras have allowed you to do, because a lot of the times you'd see a lot of photos that are right middle in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because
then
that's where
when
the
you
focus
would
points are.
crop, yeah. So then when you would crop, if a bird was looking at one side of the frame after you cropped, and you wanted him looking into the empty space, not the frame edge,
You cut its head off and turn it around.
well, what you do is you literally lose 1/3 of the pixels on every side.
Yep.
Whereas now you can literally just hold that down, and if he looks right, we've talked about this last pod, I think. You go to the left, and vice versa. So that certainly helps save pixels in that
Yeah.
regard.
Save the
And yeah,
pixels.
yeah, in the size thing, I get the size thing. I wouldn't say bigger is better. If I can get closer, great.
You
I
went
do
through.
tend to like. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say you went through a phase where you were like details, like not macro necessarily, but like MFD for sure.
That was the R10 and the 100/400, just because the extra like pixel density, the 100/400 getting like 640 with the crop factor, the ability to get close and still focus with its MFD. Like you could really get some nice shoulder up headshots on small birds, and like face filling on a mammal. Like it's insane. So
Yeah.
I did. And I would say that a lot of my photos was showcasing the gear more than anything, but that's also because that's what it did well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to stay in the lines of what your camera can do well. The 800 is kind of like a medium in frame kind of portrait lens that on a small little Sparrow or something, you're actually going to get, say, a farmer's field in it or a fence row. But
Mm-hmm.
with the compression and a little bit of that F11, you can still actually make out a little bit of it, but it's not blown out like a 2.8 or like a F4,
Yep.
where it's just now a gradient. But you can actually still kind of see elements that are blurred out. So that's what I kind of like about the 800 and it being as slow as it is that you can still actually maintain a sense of environment while keeping your backgrounds somewhat less busy.
Yeah.
If you pick the right background, if you pick the right distance of background. You're not going to do that with something that's background's 30 feet away. But if you have something that the background is 500 meters, 400 meters, 300 meters away, shooting out in like grasslands
Mm-hmm.
or some sort of alvar, oh yeah, that lens just kicks. Because if you use an f4 and you're in the same distance for shooting, say, let's just say 20 feet, if you use the 5.6 800 or the 600 f4 in that situation and you don't stop down, you're just going to have like there's an Instagram account out there that the guy just completely just does gradient backgrounds, just blows them out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bird, the subject, and then everything's just kind of like a two-tone green or a two-tone yellow or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the color palette is. And that's basically what you'll get with some of those other lenses, which are great in tight areas where
Mm-hmm.
you don't have much separation between your subject and your background.
Mm-hmm.
So like don't don't go into a tight area and expect the F11 to do something that it
I
won't do.
prefer
Don't
going
go.
into a tight area.
You know what I mean? But
Wink,
like,
wink.
don't. It's kind of like wedding photography, though. Like, you don't go inside a house with a f5.6 lens and try to use natural light. It's
Yeah,
just not going to work.
yeah. Also,
That's why they make fast lenses.
like when you were talking about the 600 versus 800 f4 versus f11, if you're taking a picture of that same subject with the same distance, the f11 is probably going to have the whole bird in focus. Whether that f4
Yes.
at f4, you'll maybe get like
Yes.
the eye and a slice of the face, but like the
Yes.
wing is
So,
even outside of the
yeah,
focal range.
at MFD, a small to medium sized songbird, the whole thing's going to be in focus. You're not going to have that depth of field drop off. So, from literally the beak will still be good, even though you hit the eye. The tail should still be good, very or close, even if he's standing forward and you got like length going into the frame. Once you get up into like maybe something that's the size of a fox or the size of an eagle or a turkey or something, yeah, you'll see that the eye is in, and then the shoulder or something a little further back is definitely out. Like the depth of field drop off is probably, I'm sure there's a chart out there. I'm not one of those guys, but it could be like 9 inches.
Yeah, like front to back.
Yeah, whereas like on an F4 600 with same distance
Very slim.
compression stuff like that, yeah, you might be talking 5 inches, 3 inches. So
Yeah, and like I so when we were talking earlier about the like edits that people make that should be you're doing it for other people and not really for you, because like, but I myself look at those things in pictures, and I even in my own, and that's the stuff that I get annoyed at, when it's like I got the crest of a cardinal in focus, but like his eye isn't. I'm like, dang it. And then I get the eye, and then the crest is out of focus. So I'm like, dang it. Like I want the whole thing, and I don't think enough about the aperture. I always think aperture is only light input, but it's also
Right.
focus thickness.
yeah,
That's a way of describing it.
the depth, yeah, the
Depth
the
of field
depth,
is
yeah,
a way better way of
yeah,
describing it than focus thickness.
yeah. I like focus thickness though. We should try to make that stick.
Focus thick. How thick is
Yeah.
your focus?
It fits kind of how we usually go about things around
That's
here.
definitely spelled with 2 C's too, by the way.
Thick.
Thick.
Easy. You might have to pay Jared something for
No,
that.
definitely not. We should, but the goal should be to have Jared on. Jared Poland, come on our podcast.
Yeah. Oh, he would just.
It'd be so good.
I don't even know if he'd stay the whole time.
But I don't care. If you drop in for 5 minutes, it'd be hilarious. Actually, we could probably pay for it because he does those
I
like
think yeah.
those like sessions. Would be like trick
Yeah.
him. Be like,
I think
hey,
it was.
come look at my pictures. It is actually you're on a podcast. Take that.
I think I was telling you a couple days ago. Like I respect Jared more because like he is an asshole, but he knows it.
Yeah. You're
Whereas
yeah.
someone that like I know like deep down he's kind of a prick, except like he doesn't think so, or like his online persona is that he's a nice guy. I much prefer the prick that knows he's a prick, because at least there's respect there.
Yeah. It's
know what I
it's
mean?
straightforward. You're like you're not hiding
Yeah.
anything.
That's
You're
where I
just-
hold myself. Like don't
You're a
question
dick.
yourself. I kind of am an asshole, but like I'm an asshole that you hopefully can release respect to a degree.
I'm getting there.
Good. See, we're all building this relationship
If
together.
we want this podcast to be called Carl Kick Rocks, why can't it be an asshole you'll at least respect?
That works too. It can be-
Respect the asshole.
you'll come up with something.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
They've been pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I like the quirkiness of that.
Yeah, you got to make it fun, right?
Yeah,
This whole thing
that's
is
the whole
fun.
point. It's just fun. Like anything we say, if I ever offend anyone, like just you can unfollow me. That's fine. But like it doesn't actually mean anything. This is fun. I'm gonna over embellish things too on this. I'm going to go into rants that are a little bit more colorful than they typically would be. Because like, come on, I'm here to entertain you guys.
Yeah, I hopefully find it a little entertaining, because I like to do the same thing too. Like ultimately, if I've this is bad. This is a bad attitude, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Ultimately, if I'm making a troll comment about your photo, I'm nobody. I'm literally nobody. Like, don't listen
Right.
to it. Like, I'm just a
Right.
fuck that decided to start making a podcast. But you don't even know that when I make the comment. I'm literally even less than a listener listening to the show.
You don't even have a podcast.
I don't have anything. You don't even know if I have a camera. Like it is like
That's true.
Who is this dude who's making this dumb comment? Like clearly he's an idiot. But like somebody might find it funny. And occasionally I hope that the comment makes you go, "Oh, maybe I did go over the top with that edit, and next time I'll tone it down a little bit and see if this douche nozzle makes another comment. And if I don't, you've improved."
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Bad. That shouldn't be my thought process.
I just think it's always good just to check the ego. That's all.
If you post a picture and someone... I'm on something. If you post a picture and someone makes a negative comment, what's the point of posting the picture? Because like for me, constructive criticism, I think is an art that's dying, and it's fine if someone doesn't like something. Not everybody has to like everything.
I'm afraid that too many people, the more serious types.
How deep is this going to go? It sounds like it's getting deep.
They surround themselves with yes men.
Mm-hmm. It's bad.
No, they do.
No,
they do.
Right.
So they're just little cults, and that's okay. But when you're so used to hearing yes, and then you hear something that's not even remotely close to a yes, that's when things go bad, because that's not what you're used to hearing. Mm-hmm. You got to have a little bit less ego, a little bit of humility. Like, art should be subjective. So why are you putting yourself around people that are objectively going to say, "Yeah, I like that," just because, like,
the saying goes,
I don't know. I've just seen it. That's all.
Yeah. And the saying goes, you can't enjoy the sunny days without the rainy days. Like, 100%. You have to have yin and yang. You have to have positive and negative. There are better ways of being negative, and I will. Also, you know what's funny?
Oh, I'm terrible at that.
Oh, me too. Literally,
I'm very direct. I'm very direct. But
we both are. That's why we get along.
But I'm direct, but to the point where it's like, oh, I'm sorry if I actually hurt you with that. Like, that's not the way I took it. The way I said it in my head is not the way that I think you're taking it, and it's really hard to get back from that too.
Yep. Yeah. No, you're
kind of hard.
Literally at work right now. I'm like trying to not be exactly that. Yeah. I'll identify an issue and I'm like, we need to fix this and F all the people. And then my boss is like, whoa, like back it up a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I guess I probably should a little bit. But still, I do think that it's true. But I was going to say, like,
go ahead.
You have to, someone saying, I don't like this part about your picture. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like, it's trying to either show you an area where that individual thinks that you could improve, or it's just, who cares? Like, that guy doesn't like it. Like I said earlier, does not like it. Also, negative or like wrong isn't necessarily bad, because like I always think of binary. It's on or off. So if it's not right, it's wrong. But wrong doesn't have to be bad. It's just not right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, because we have the kind of same. This is where we do gel, and our brain waves do match up. Most things it doesn't, but I know exactly what you're saying.
Most people don't match with my brain waves.
Well, we match in this one. No, I get it. It's not the world's ending. No, it's just no, and there's another way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more. This is a bad expression, but there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like I've had so many discussions in photography or in just life where I say like, no, that's wrong. And they're like, no, it's fine. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's fine and wrong. Like, it's both of those
Why
things.
can't it be?
Yeah.
Why not both?
Why not both? Like, yeah. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
It's because it just comes down to just because it's subjective. That's all it is. That's
subjective. Literally means some people are gonna like it and some people aren't gonna like it.
Why are you fucking shocked when one person doesn't?
It's fine. And like when someone posts a picture on the internet and they get negative comments and they get all offended, it's like, first day on the internet, like, it's kind of a terrible place to be, honestly. Like, there's a lot of jerks out here.
Yeah.
Like, someone's gonna say, like, if it's not me, it's gonna be you. Like, one of us is gonna say something.
Yeah. 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 It's
Someone
fragile. It's fragile.
literally do it to this podcast. Someone tell me something bad. Like, that's fine. I'll go, yeah, you're right. The first episode sounded like garbage because I didn't know how to work any of these audio things that I am trying to learn about.
And I was using an earbud.
You were using a potato. You were using a Nikon.
Sorry, Jimmy.
Sorry, Jim. But yeah, like, you have, I don't know, we don't need to wax poetically about how we think people need to be more accepting of criticism, but I do.
We just feel comfortable. We just feel comfortable because we agree right now, and we're in our own little echo chamber.
Yeah, there's no. We're both yes menning this thing that there needs to be some negative.
Yes. The hypocrisy out there is so outstandingly wild. You know what I mean? Like it's in me, it's in you, it's in everybody. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. Everyone's gonna be a hypocrite sometimes.
Oh,
some people are gonna be unethical. Everyone has been unethical in wildlife photography at some point. Obviously, there's certain levels of it. Most people learn from those experiences. That's life. Live and learn. Grow from it.
You live.
Let
you
the
learn,
ego.
Yep.
Let the ego. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna be an asshole like me, just embrace it and try to make some people laugh at least. Be 50-50 at least.
Yeah, that's a good ratio.
And yeah, that's my main. It's like it's either he's either an asshole or he's trying to bring some humor into it. That's it.
It's pretty simple. I think I learned that the first time we met. I was like, this guy can keep
I don't
up
hide
with
it.
me. No,
I don't hide it. Yeah. It's me. It's hard. It's hard to hide you. Like you can only do it for so long.
Is that a fat joke?
No, it's a personality joke.
Yeah, I know. I was also like you were saying that my voice tends to carry too, so I'll be like getting passionate about a discussion down the hall, like through doors and walls. People are like, "Yo, I can like hear you." Like, oh, really? Like,
It's funny that you use the word passionate because I have a guy at work that he said that all my frustration and anger and enjoyment and happiness, it all comes from passion. He says you're just a passionate guy. When the way you explain things, the way you try to teach, the way you elaborate, it all comes from passion. What you like, you really like, and you're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. And that's where my I wouldn't say mood swings, but that's where the up and down kind of comes from.
This is getting to be that sounds like we're talking about me, but you're literally talking about you, which is cool.
Yeah.
I hate it, but I also like it.
I hope people are still here to be listening.
Were people here to start with?
I think, would you say 68 of them?
I think 68 people listen to the last. I don't stare at numbers. I don't get obsessed with numbers.
We need the video.
Why? Because my eyes went all crazy?
Yeah, eventually we are going to add a video.
Yeah.
We are. We're actually going to get this stuff up on YouTube.
That's the goal.
That's the plan.
That's step next.
Yep. And then YouTube video will probably come eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm dialing in the settings on this R8 right now to
see. You look
see.
good.
Thank you.
I took a screen grab to post. So.
Someone else like this?
Yes. It was a very creepy one.
Yeah, no, it's been I'm having a lot of fun, man.
Oh, every time. And they go by so fast.
You know what's cool? We can futz around on Messenger all day talking about dumb shit and then still have like an hour and a half long conversation about literally nothing.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
I mean, maybe it is nothing, but we're enjoying it at least.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it could be, no one could be listening to it, but just the fact that we're having this conversation is an enjoying experience for me.
I do plan on having for the next podcast at least some sort of trip where I can have something to talk about. Well, in the world of wildlife photography.
If
we're planning on going out the 3rd of November. I'm planning going out next weekend, which would be what's that 27?
No, it's Monday. Why are we talking about the date?
I don't know. Just to line it up with the podcast.
Oh, that's fair. What I was going to say was like, what's going to happen
Sunday
is
before Halloween.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're going to go go to this. We're gonna like because you plan on going to the same spot the next 2 weeks, right? The
For
same
now, I plan on
park.
going this Sunday. Yes, yeah.
What's gonna happen is you're gonna see all of the birds this weekend, and then when I'm with you, the 2 weekends after that, there's gonna be 0 birds. I'll bet you a coffee.
Well, let's hope that it's the opposite, because then we'll have
No.
lots to talk about.
Well, I don't want you to see nothing.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go again, and then I'm gonna see everything with you,
Does that make it
and then
more
we can
special?
experience this.
You can tell me and
together
Craig to
through the
shut
podcast.
up because there's a
Saw-whet owl
saw-whet
2
owl,
feet
like,
off the path.
best place ever.
Yeah, that's my plan actually this weekend, is to get around and see if I can find where some of them are shacking up.
Yeah.
Because if we can figure that out, then we can hit the deuce in the morning with the morning light, and then when it gets too bright or too shit of light, we can go into the old conifers. And if I can find a long-eared owl,
If we can find a long-eared owl.
yes, yeah.
We know.
I went down a little long-eared owl thing just tonight, and I found a video, and this guy that just moved from UK, Richard, and I had heard a few things about a certain park, and he went to this park, and
We've named the park
3
before.
yeah, 3 times in his video, he actually sat down and talked about other photographers, how they were shaking the tree, trying to wake up a species, trying to get them to fly. They were going into the bush closer to them where you could see them from the bush, a little obstructed, but it wasn't that Nat Geo type photo. And there were, like, throughout the day when he was there, a good handful of 10 or 15 people that went in. Just they're putting up fences so people stay on the paths. They're not chain link. They're just like wooden kind of fences.
It's like snow fences. The orange
And
ones.
the wardens kind of have like a love-hate kind of thing going on with the photographers, and it basically just confirms everything that I've heard going on at that place. So if you're a taxpayer and you feel like you can still go there and add to that, then by all means go ahead and you make that choice. But I just don't think it's worth a photo. And I want to see a fucking long-eared owl so goddamn bad. I got 3 owl species that I haven't seen, which is long-eared, boreal, and great gray. And I've avoided every shitty shit show shenanigan that's happened when a great gray shows up or when the long-eared owls come into certain parks. I've just been reluctant to go because there's no way that me going for my photo to add to the pot of AI that's going to use my photos. There's no way that it's even worth going,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Just so I can do a stupid edit on it and fuck it up anyway.
Yeah. Take your JPEG
Full
and
circle.
just deep fry
Full
it
circle.
and then send
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway,
I think
it was just
that's
interesting.
I think that's a good spot to end because I think we've come full circle now. We've talked about all the things we
have.
want to talk about. I've enjoyed this conversation. I know we could probably talk for another hour and a half, but if we plan on doing any more of these, we should save some stuff.
We should save some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We should just do one like 45-hour episode, and that's the whole thing.
What? Let me know when you're done.
Yeah, just a big lump of a podcast. But I'm gonna close her here. So I've been Kyle. You can find me at kyle.boehm.photography on Instagram. This is Matt. Like I said in the beginning, _ Matt Parrish on Instagram. And it's been a great chat, man.
Yeah, just look for the obscured edits.
You look for the AI owls and
Yeah.
the really cropped in shitty photos. It'll be me and him. So
Yep. Awesome.
And cue music. I don't know why I like
the
that. 'Cause
music.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, the music's great.
Feathers, beak, and
All right.
wings.
Love you, buddy.
All up in the lens.
Love you, guys.
Kyle and Matt snapping, capturing all them trends. Peeping through the scope, freeze frame the fly. Angry Bird Pod Show, aiming for the sky. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels, flying so divine. Peep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine. Twisting in the air, birds of every kind. Critics gonna chirp, but they ain't ever dying. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, drop dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. On the twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Eat the live broadcast, podcast opine. Twisting in the air, birds are back, so fine. Brain Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. From dawn to twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. From the past. Not shortcut. Not shortcut. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Bringing all the glee.